welcome back to my channel. My name is Delilah if you are new here, and today I'm going to be filming a video that's a bit different than what I normally share. Probably my number one request from you guys is more food related content. So that is what I'm serving up for you today. You're going to be joining me in my kitchen this week as I cook and prepare food for my family of 5, almost 6. I'm not going to share every single meal that I eat because that would be a lot of repetition and unnecessary content, but I do want to take you through 1 to 2 meals a day of what we're eating, what I'm preparing, what I am consuming as a pregnant mama. I need to put a disclaimer on this. I am not an expert at all when it comes to nutrition and food and what food is even recommended in pregnancy. I've never really stayed in the loop with what is recommended and what's not. I feel like in every part of the world there's different rules and recommendations. For me, really anything goes. I eat intuitively. I try to eat a little bit more on the healthy side, and I eat within reason. I don't consume like 5 cups of coffee a day, but I do still drink a little bit of coffee. Now, I was recently told that I need to increase my iron intake, and I'd like to increase my fiber intake as well because constipation is a common problem within pregnancy, especially towards the end. I am now in my 3rd trimester, and I know low iron and constipation are very common issues within pregnancy. Hopefully you can come away from this with some food ideas for yourself. Now again, I'm not an expert. In fact, the last time I really kept track of what exactly I was consuming and the nutritional benefits of what I was consuming was before I had kids. So it's been a while. And so I've been doing a lot of research and trying to plan some meals that are family friendly, that my kids are going to enjoy, that I'm going to enjoy, that are quick and easy to make and reasonable. I'm not going to be keeping track of exactly how much of everything I'm eating, how much iron I'm taking in, or how much fiber I'm consuming, but I do want to be aware of some of the foods that I'm eating and trying to consume more high iron foods, more fibrous foods. Trying to consume vitamin C along with iron because your body absorbs it better when you're eating vitamin C. It's a lot, and this is my first week really being aware of what I'm putting into my body, and so you're going to come along with me as a beginner and we're going to learn together. So if you are here for very pregnancy specific nutritional super healthy meals, this video is probably not for you, but if you are here looking for family friendly meal ideas and meals that are on the healthier side, more scratch made meals, welcome here. I'm glad you're joining me today. I do like to try and make as much of my food from scratch as I can. We try to eat as many whole foods as we can. We try to avoid a lot of processed foods. We don't do takeout very often, but of course we enjoy a good granola bar or fishy cracker or takeout dinner every once in a while too. Now, because I am trying to increase my iron and my fiber, I did go to Pinterest and try to just pin some good ideas, and I plan to spend a bit more time in the kitchen this week than I normally would, making scratch made snacks and things that will keep me satisfied and full while also benefiting my body. So this morning we are very low on groceries because it is the beginning of the week. It's been a while since we've done a grocery shop, and so I just made breakfast with what I had on hand. I start with some oatmeal. I keep the base bit very simple, and then family members can put whatever toppings they wish on top of their oatmeal. So I just cook oats with half water and half milk, and then I add some syrup to sweeten it up. That is the base of the oatmeal, and then on top I added some berries, some peanut butter, some chocolate, some hemp hearts, and then I had that alongside a piece of homemade sourdough toast and a cup of coffee, because coffee is delicious. For lunch we had a very basic ham and cheese sandwich. I do make my own sandwich bread from home, as well as pickles and mayo. So it's nice to have those scratch made items on our sandwich. It kind of just takes it to that next level and makes it a little bit more healthy. That's what we've had so far today. We did do a grocery shop this morning. Here is a list of high iron and high fiber foods. So I'm trying to incorporate a lot of these into our diet this week. We did pick up a lot of fresh fruits and vegetables, a lot of lemons, because a lot of the meals I'm making this week include lemons, spinach, chickpeas, tahini. Apparently strawberries are high in iron. And then my personal favorite, some good old dark chocolate. Most of this video is probably just going to be footage with a voiceover over top, and I will leave as many recipe links in the description as I can. And you know what? If you have any really good high iron, high fiber recipes, please comment down below. I would love to hear them. I'm always looking for more ideas, and especially in these last few months of pregnancy, I want to be consuming a relatively healthy diet, and it's always great to take my family along with that too. So let's do this. This evening I decided to try something new for supper. This is one of the recipes I had pinned on Pinterest. It's like a pesto spinach recipe. I had it with noodles and I added some chicken, and we just had like this pesto spinach pasta. It was delicious. The pesto is very simple, lots of garlic, pine nuts, lemon, salt, some olive oil, and then tons and tons of spinach. And spinach is really high in iron, super good for you. So I added a whole bunch of that. Again, all the recipes will be linked below. This turned out very, very garlicky, very strong. So I ended up adding a lot of the other stuff to kind of balance it out. I added until it tasted good, and that's really how I cook a lot of the time. And so I'm frying up some chicken and some oil, and I added some Italian seasoning and salt to the chicken. Then I added the sauce to the chicken. I also added some pasta water to the sauce to thin it out and help it stick to the noodles a little bit better. And this worked really well. It helped bulk up the sauce a lot too. I made a double recipe, and then we had lots of leftovers, so this lasted us quite a while. And this was really good. Tuesday I kept breakfast really simple. Having kids help you in the kitchen is fantastic and wonderful, but it gets really messy sometimes. But I encourage you, continue to do it anyway, because it's really important and it's special. Anyway, we kept breakfast really simple, just some scrambled eggs with lots of spinach. When I make spinach scrambled eggs, I like to first chop up the spinach a little bit, just so you don't get like giant chunks of spinach when you're eating. And then I wilt it in butter first and then add the eggs on top. I find this just helps with cooking the spinach, and it's a lot more enjoyable to eat this way. Now I know there's two different types of iron, and some iron is better absorbed in your body when you have vitamin C alongside it. I'm not going super deep into all this stuff, all this research. I'm doing the best that I can. But I'm trying to make note of that and trying to eat vitamin C on the side where I can. So that was my breakfast. This day I ended up spending a lot of time in the kitchen. I was making a lot of meals for other people and doing some extra baking and snack making on the side. So this doesn't really have anything to do with eating healthy or iron and fiber foods, but I made some lemon poppy seed muffins. This was a recipe I'd never tried before, and it was okay. I don't know if I'd ever make this one again. I'm still on the lookout for a really good lemon poppy seed muffin. In fact, if you have a good recipe, let me know. 90% of the time for lunch we are having leftovers, which is exactly what we had today. I just had some of that leftover pasta with some extra Parmesan cheese on top with a side of watermelon, because watermelon has been hitting the spot so good this pregnancy. Moving on to supper, I was making a double batch today so we could bring a batch to friends of ours who had just had a baby. This is one of our longtime favorite meals. I've shared it a number of times and I've made it many times since we first discovered it, but these are honey barbecue meatballs. It's a recipe I randomly found on Pinterest, and it is so good. I don't know what it is, like the sauce is so simple, it's only 3 ingredients. But the meatballs are delicious. On the side, I kept it simple and I did some steamed broccoli. There's something about steamed vegetables. It's so easy, but it's so delicious. Broccoli is supposedly high in iron and fiber as well, so that was a good side to have with our dinner. And then alongside that, I'm also making some rice. I like to toast my rice in butter first and then add water or chicken stock and let it cook. This just really brings out flavor and is really good. I mixed up a double batch of meatballs. There's onion, and instead of breadcrumbs, I use oats in my meatballs. And then there's milk and parsley, and I add a little bit of oregano, and then salt, pepper, like all kinds of delicious stuff. Again, the sauce is so easy. It's literally just barbecue sauce and then grape jelly and honey. I have substituted the grape jelly for a number of different things today. I think I'm using some Haskap jam or some Saskatoon berry jam or something. I'm not sure, but whatever I use, it's always good. And then since I was in the kitchen, I decided I would make some hummus because chickpeas are really high in iron. There's also tahini in there, which is high in iron as well. So I figured this would be a really good thing to snack on with fresh veggies or crackers, whatever. An easy, quick snack as long as I have it ready to go in the fridge. I used to make hummus all the time, like almost every single day, but I haven't done that in like 6 years. I'm kind of the only one who eats hummus in our family. I mean, Zach enjoys it, but he doesn't eat a lot of it. And so when I make this, I need to know that I'm going to eat a lot of it, otherwise it's not worth it. The easiest way for me to meal prep things like this is to do it while I'm cooking something else. Because I'm already in the kitchen, I'm already, motivated, I'm there, I'm making dishes dirty, I might as well just make a few more dishes dirty, So yeah, we had meatballs, rice, and broccoli for supper, and it was really good. This is one of our favorites. I have a cup of coffee every single morning with cream, and then sometimes throughout the day I'll have maybe another one in the afternoon. But that's about it for my coffee intake, and I don't drink any pop or any other sources of caffeine. I've had coffee in all of my pregnancies, and it hasn't affected pregnancies or my babies or anything at all. So I continue to do so. This morning was dark and cloudy and rainy and cold, and so I spent a lot of time in the kitchen again this day, and especially this morning. Here I am preparing my sourdough sandwich bread, which is something I make once or twice a week at least. It feels really complicated when you're first starting, like all these sourdough recipes, you gotta get the timing right, and it feels overwhelming and complicated, but once you do it, even just one time, it becomes a lot easier because that routine is kind of stuck in your head. So slowly I've been adding sourdough recipes to our everyday diet, and it's been going really well. I don't think I've bought a loaf of bread in a couple of months now. I think that's pretty good because we go through a lot of bread. This is a recipe that I am still tweaking, and I do hope to share soon. We'll see when that happens, but I do hope to share it soon. By the way, if you are wondering about some of the recipes, like right here, I'm making my yogurt. I make yogurt once a week and it lasts us throughout the week. I will leave that recipe in the description box. I am starting to add recipes to my website, in my blogs. Sometimes things don't go smoothly, and I make a lot of messes in the kitchen. Don't let the pretty shots fool you. But today for breakfast, I'm doing oatmeal again, but I'm doing it just a little bit differently. I'm doing a banana oatmeal. This is something I used to do a lot. Oats are high in iron, and they're a really easy, yummy breakfast that everyone enjoys. So it's something I want to start making more often. But I just made my basic oatmeal, but I added a couple of mashed bananas to the mix as it was cooking. Then I topped it with some fresh bananas, some hemp hearts, some toasted pecans, a little bit of syrup, and this is so yummy. Next time I'm also going to add some chocolate chips because that would just take it to the next level. And I'm showing what the kids eat too, because the kids eat what I eat, but sometimes just modified a wee bit. I got my sourdough loaf started in the morning. Now later on in the morning I am preparing the loaves, it has had its first rise, and then I kind of roll out the dough and put it into 2 loaf pans because it makes 2 loaves, and then let it rise once more. So it's kind of an all-day process, and I can only make it when I know I'm going to be home all day. The actual act of making the bread doesn't take a lot of time. It's just a lot of wait time. For lunch, we are keeping it very simple. I am chopping up some veggies to have with my hummus. So I've got cucumbers and carrots. And then for the main part of our meal, I am making some tuna salad. Now I make my own mayo. Again, I can leave that recipe in the description box, but I'm just mixing in some mayo, some mustard, some homemade pickles, which is a recipe that will either be on the vlog very soon or just went live on the blog. So if it's live, I'll link that below too. But I added some pickles to the mix just to, make it a little bit more flavorful. Then we're having that on top of some sourdough sandwich bread and then veggies on the side. William apparently loves the bread. If we're not eating leftovers for lunch, we're eating either like crackers and cheese or sandwiches. Those are our go-tos. They're simple, they're easy. Again, this has nothing to do with high iron or healthy meals or anything like that, but I was also making cookies this week to give to people and then to also freeze so that we can have some on hand. Definitely snacked on those throughout the week. Mid-afternoon, my bread was ready to bake, so I popped that in the oven, and while I was in the kitchen, I decided to make some granola. This is the first time I've made granola, surprisingly. I don't know why I haven't done it sooner because it is so easy and so yummy. So oats are high in iron, pumpkin seeds are high in iron, chia seeds are high in fiber. This is really an overall really great snack to have for me right now. I'll leave the recipe I used down below. I'm definitely going to be using this again. It was really easy, really yummy. There's oats and nuts and cinnamon and coconut oil, and it was sweetened with some honey and some syrup. Basically, it's just a matter of mixing it all together and popping it in the oven. Really easy. Once I had that going, I started on supper. Now, because it was such a drizzly, cold day, I ended up changing my meal plan a little bit and making chili instead. Again, this is another really good one if you're looking for high iron foods because there's lots of red meat. You can put a lot of beans in there. Very hearty, yummy. I don't have a recipe for chili. I've never used a recipe for chili. I really just throw things together in a pot and keep adding until it tastes good. So I start with onions and beef, and then I go in with some seasonings like some chili powder, garlic powder, onion powder, and then I'll add some crushed tomatoes. I put ketchup in it, often a bit of brown sugar as well. I find the sweetness really helps to balance out the acidity of the tomatoes and just brings out the flavor so well. It's delicious. I was going to make cornbread with my chili, but I didn't have any cornmeal left, so instead I cooked up some noodles. And we had some freshly made bread on the side. So I served this up kind of like buffet style. Everyone could kind of choose what they wanted. I ended up having mine just chili and bread with butter and some cheese on top. And it was very satisfying that particular day. Once my granola had cooled down, I added some chocolate chips to the mix and then put it in a jar, and I've been enjoying it ever since. It is really good on top of yogurt, on its own, with milk as cereal. It's delicious. early Thursday morning before breakfast, I got some supper started. We were having pitas with kebabs and tzatziki, and this is one of our most favorite meals, especially in summertime, but it does require quite a bit of prep beforehand. So I was getting that ready. I always marinate my chicken or pork. Today I'm doing both because I had some leftover chicken in the fridge to use. So I did some chicken, some pork. I marinate it in lemon juice and olive oil, and I add salt, pepper, usually some oregano and parsley, and what else? Basil I think. I'll choose like 3 different herbs and just add it to the mix and soak it all day. This makes the most flavorful, delicious meat. After I got that going, I started making some breakfast for the day. I kept it really simple today. Often we'll do just like yogurt, cereal, toast, and everyone has what they want. So I'm having a yogurt parfait with some homemade yogurt, some fresh fruit, some of my homemade granola. Here I am finishing up my yogurt the next day. It's a long process. But once you get into the routine of it, it's very doable. So I was getting that strained so it could thicken. This particular day was actually the last day of school for us. We went out for a celebratory treat, but instead of getting a treat, I ended up getting some cheddar ale soup because it just sounded really good. So I had that, and it came with a pretzel, and it was delicious. But then I got hungry later on in the afternoon, and so I had some apple with peanut butter as a quick healthy snack. So for supper that night, I was making sourdough pitas and kebabs and tzatziki. We had it with a side of watermelon salad. This salad is so good. It is our all-time favorite summer salad. It is literally just watermelon, feta, and mint. That's it. That's all it is, but somehow, like, this combination is so good and so refreshing for summertime. And like I said, watermelon has been really hitting the spot this pregnancy, and so this just, is so good. I am making my friend's cashew cream tzatziki sauce. I'm not sure if I can link the recipe right now, but this is so good. I tried it once a number of months ago, and it quickly became a family favorite. So this is something we make on a regular basis. The kids all wanted to join me this particular day, which got a little bit chaotic, but that's okay. But because the base of this sauce is made with cashews instead of a cream, this makes it a little bit healthier and higher in iron, just overall better for you. The chicken and the pork that had been marinating all day, I put onto some skewers as Zach took them out to the barbecue. And then I got started on my sourdough pita. Now this was the first time I had made this particular recipe, and it was so good. We've been making this nonstop ever since because we love this so much. This recipe felt a little overwhelming at first because there's a lot of steps, but once you do it once, it becomes a lot easier to do that. I feel like that's how a lot of sourdough recipes are. But yeah, this is so good. It doesn't taste like sourdough at all. It's worked perfectly for me every time I've made it. Highly recommend it. I'll link this one below. They don't always get super puffy like that one on the top, but when you cut into them, there's always like a pocket. I don't know how that works, but it works, and it's so good. Then it was just time to assemble. So inside I did the cashew cream and then some spinach and then the meat. And this was so good. We make this on a number of occasions, but there was something about this time that just, it was perfect. It was perfect. It was so good. Friday we were really busy, so we kept it really simple. I just had another yogurt parfait with sourdough toast, peanut butter, bananas. For lunch we had leftovers. Saturday we ended up going out for brunch, which is something we don't do very often, but it was so good. I ended up having a crab eggs benedict. But before we left, I had a snack. I just had some of the granola that I had made, as cereal. So I topped it with some fresh fruit, added some milk, and this was really, really yummy. Then for supper that day, we were going to do ribs, smoked ribs, but our smoker failed us. It broke. And so I had to come up with a last minute swap for the meat. I ended up making brown sugar pork chops, which is one of our favorites as well, another go-to, but we did it on the barbecue instead of on the smoker. And because things got a little bit late, Zach and I thought, you know what, let's make a special date night dinner and let's enjoy this, just the two of us. And so we fed the kids something really simple that night, and we enjoyed some brown sugar pork chops. So all I do is I season them with some seasoning salt or just salt and pepper, and then some brown sugar. I actually didn't have any brown sugar, so I ended up mixing some molasses into sugar, and that worked just as good. Now, one of our favorite ways to have potatoes is dollar cuts, or these like coin, I don't know what you want to call these, but they're really good. I'll slice up the potatoes really thin and then season them with whatever I'm feeling. Today I did some olive oil, salt, pepper, paprika, and garlic powder. And then I'll throw them into the air fryer at 400 degrees for like 15 minutes, and I'll check on them a couple of times in between then, and they get nice and crispy and delicious. And on the side, I'm making one of mine and Zach's most favorite salads. This is a pea salad, and it's not your usual pea salad. I think I stumbled across this recipe on Instagram or somewhere. I don't even remember. So the base is frozen peas, thawed with roasted cashews, and there's dill, and there's mint, and Caesar. Like, such an odd combination, and feta. An odd combination, but so good. While I was cooking again, I started prepping something else. I was prepping some English muffins, sourdough English muffins for the next morning. So I was getting that batter going so it could rise throughout the night. I don't know why we don't do this more often. Like, it's so hard for Zach and I to get out for date nights. Just because it's a busy season of life. And so this is really nice, just putting the kids to bed a little bit earlier and then enjoying a candlelit dinner in the comfort of our own home. Yeah, it was really, really nice. The next morning we were doing English muffins, so I was getting the rest of my batter ready. I've made this recipe a few times, but I feel like I still need to tweak it a little bit because it is quite runny, and I find that in the morning it's really hard to work with, and I need to add a lot more flour. So I think the next time I'm going to make this, I'm going to add significantly more flour when I mix up the dough so I don't run into this problem. But I'm dividing it up and getting all of the little English muffins ready to cook. We had gone Costco shopping this week, and so I had really wanted to try these sausage patties. I wanted to make English muffin breakfast sandwiches. So that is what I was working on this morning. Sunday mornings, I usually don't do anything crazy for breakfast, but I really wanted to try this. So I put a little extra effort into breakfast today. On our English muffins, I just did some butter, and then some spinach, and then a sausage patty, some cheese, and topped it all off with an egg. I was really hoping to get a runny yolk because I love runny yolks, but it didn't work. It was still good though. And that was my week of eating. And of course, in between all these clips, I also had random snacks here and there. I snacked on those cookies and muffins and all kinds of other stuff in between. Let me know if you enjoyed this video and if you want to see more food content in the future. And I will see you in the next one.